He's more of a snake guy. I'm just a speaker.
Snake girl.
Yeah, the snake girl. We will do the slideshow presentation in here where we will show you what snakes we have in Hua Hin. And then outside we will have a little snake show. And maybe if you guys remember what snakes there are, you could identify them. And we have some snakes in here that are really harmless we can pass around.
Alright, so in Hua Hin, as you probably already know, snakes are pretty common, and if you've been here for a while, you've probably run into a few over the time. And most of them that you see in your garden and stuff, they're completely harmless, but every now and then we do get some quite venomous ones around. So the goal of this is to try and teach you a bit about them so you can learn to identify them by yourself and maybe change your views on killing them, because most people, they do usually tend to kill them when they see them. And it's actually not that safe, because when you try to kill them, most people who get bit by venomous snakes get bit because they were trying to kill it, which will cause the snake to be, well, it'll feel as if it's getting attacked and it will try to defend itself by biting. There's 4 main groups of snakes that we get around here. The 2 not so dangerous ones are the Pythonidae, which are large constrictors. They're non-venomous, but they could give a quite painful bite. The second ones are the colubrids. These are mainly diurnal, which means they come out during the day, and they're usually pretty quick. They're non-venomous, or they're rear-fanged, which means the fangs are located in the back of their jaw rather than in the front, so that if they were to bite you, they'd actually have to chew down quite hard and for a while to be able to inject any venom. Plus their venom is usually not that strong, so these can be considered harmless. And then the other 2 that we have are the elapids. They're front-fanged. They have really short fixed fangs in the front of their mouth. And the vipers, they have long hingy fangs which they can move forward and backward like that. And these 2 are the really dangerous ones that you have to watch out for. So now Tanya can discuss some of
The cranes are the most dangerous of the snake family in Thailand. The Malayan crane is actually the most venomous snake in Thailand, and it will kill you. This is the Malayan crane and the banded crane. They have triangular bodies, and that's how you can identify them. They're quite rare, so it wouldn't be like you would stumble upon them.
You said triangular body.
Like,
yeah, because most snakes, they have like a long round body, but crates, they have rather, you can see how the ridge of the spine is lifted. It's kind of like a triangular body.
And in Thai, this is Ngo Thap Saming Kala, if you want to know the Thai name. And this is Ngo Sam Liang.
And they're mainly nocturnal, the crates, so you don't really need to worry about seeing them during the day.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Back to the crates. I'm pretty sure somehow that one of those, the black and white ones, was in my linen closet. And we can't, for the life of us, figure out they're rare. How did it get into?
There's a snake that looks exactly like this, but it is.
You don't really get it.
Well, go. What was your question?
How could it even get into the house? That's what I'm like.
Well, occasionally snakes, they can come up from the toilets if the plumbing is done not well. I've heard of quite a couple of cases of snakes coming in through the drain.
Okay.
But also a lot of them, they can just squeeze under doors and open windows and such like stuff like that.
And the next venomous family, we have cobras. We have king cobra is considered is not actually a cobra. It's
a genus of its own is called Ophiophagus, which translates from Latin to snake eater. But they're not actually related to the true cobra family, so it's going to be after this one. These are the true cobras. This is the Siamese spitting cobra, which is the one we most commonly find around here.
and in Thai is Ngo Hao Pon Pit.
Yeah, and these can spit their venom into your eyes from about maximum 3 meters distance. So they can't spit too far. And they're usually black in color around here, although they can vary. Sometimes they have slight white stripes, but most of them are black. And then the other one we get is the monocled cobra. They're quite uncommon around here, but I have heard of people finding them.
And you can identify them because they have a circle, like a monocle on their back, on their hood. So you can see that that's how you can identify those. And these have like a U-shaped on their hood. That's how you can tell the difference between these two.
We've got some of these outside, we can show you later.
And the big one, king cobra. King cobras, and like many other snakes, they eat other snakes, but king cobras only eat snakes. They don't eat anything else. Well, they could be force-fed, but it's not that good for them. So that's why I think they're kind of rare, because it's kind of difficult to find food for themselves, and because people like to take them to snake shows. And they're highly venomous. And you can see they're yellow here.
And they can be identified by they have really big head scales, as you can see on this picture, compared to other snakes. And around the edges of their scales, they usually have a black line outlining each scale, which is typical for only the king cobra.
And they get up to 6 meters. They're the biggest venomous.
Yeah, they're the biggest venomous species of snake in the world.
Now the vipers. Here is a Malayan pit viper. They are the most death by snakes in Thailand is from this snake.
Well, the most annual snake deaths in Thailand are thanks to this snake. It's mainly because they have a really strong venom and they're slow and they don't move away. Because most snakes, when you approach them, they'll disappear. But the Malayan pit vipers, they just sit and curl up in a ball and pretend, because they're really well camouflaged on leaf litter and stuff. So it's their instinct when something comes just to sit still and not to move, rather than try to flee. So that if you're walking in the dark, it's really easy to step on them. So you should always wear shoes and never walk around barefoot in dark ways and stuff.
They're also known as venomous landmines.
Their venom causes necrosis, which will basically cause your blood to clog up instantly so it can't flow, which eventually will cause the death of the flesh and it will rot off.
And the other viper we have is the white-lipped pit viper. You can identify by the white stripes, but the female does not have the white stripe. It's just completely green and has yellow or orangey eyes. And it has a bird tail. In Thai, it's Mu Kiao Hang Mai, because the tail is red and burnt.
They all have a red tail.
Yes.
There's a green tree snake that's harmless that looks like a tail.
This is a white-lipped pit viper, and the white-lipped pit viper, they all have either reddish or brown tip of the tail. So if it's around Huahin and it has a brown tip of the tail and it's a green snake, you can be pretty sure it's one of these.
But you know, like the backlit,
This one.
Yes.
right? So
These ones, they don't actually have a darkened tip of the tail, they're just green completely throughout the body. But we'll get to these in a moment.
I guess I'm just asking, how can you tell the difference between them?
Well, also the vine snakes, the harmless green ones, they have a really long snout, and these ones, they have a rather short head. If you look at from the top, they have a really triangular head, whereas the vine snakes, they have just like a really long spear-shaped head.
So is it if they always don't have the pointy nose, then it's a pit viper? It's a viper.
And they're usually fatter because these are extremely slim.
If it doesn't have a pointy nose and it has a brown or red tail, then it would be one of these.
And the pythons.
I'm sorry, David. Is there a not? I feel like in Thailand I've seen doesn't have a pointy nose. I didn't look at its tail. Is there a non-poisonous green tree?
We do get some in Thailand that have that, but not around Huahin. Only you'd have to go down to like Krabi area or something to find those species, but around here.
This is just like about Huahin because snakes look different. If it's here or Krabi, they could have different color and different sizes. It's very confusing. It took me years to understand snakes. I mean, I'm still kind of barely doing it. This is the reticulated python. It's the longest snake in the world, and it has, yes, there has been records of it eating humans, but that's only when it gets to like 10 meters. But a wild one can be dangerous because of its size. It can wrap around you, and it can bite you, and it's not venomous, but it can get infected, and it's very nasty. And same for the Burmese python. It is smaller, it only gets up to 6 meters, but it's also can be, wild ones are dangerous. In Thai, this is muliam, and this one is mulam.
Mulan.
Yes.
This is a female, she's only about 2 years old actually, and these can grow up to a maximum of around 10 meters. This one's completely tame, you guys can all touch it if you like. Just try to be calm around it. Which are these, because they look like little vines.
So cute. Do they bite you?
They can, yes.
Are these tame yet?
All these ones, I don't think they would bite, but just because, for the sake of it, we're not going to handle them because there's a small chance they may bite. But you can pass the box around and look at it. I don't know, just don't open it. Actually, I'll hold the box.
Yes.
They do actually have a very mild venom, but they're rear-fanged, and because on elapids and vipers, it's the fang is actually hollow like a needle, where they'll inject it, but these ones, they just have like a large tooth, and they have a gland in the gum which produces the venom that just runs down the edge of the tooth. So when they bite So you can see they're always really long, like shoelaces. That's how you can also identify them. Really long head. And they're always really, really thin.
There's a lot of different type of common names. They're sometimes called shoelace snake, or you can hear wiggle.
Another common name for long-nosed whip snake because they're really long and slender, kind of like a whip. So if you hear someone say whip snake or vine snake, they're all referring to the same species of snake.
Oh, come on.
That's the same one from the box, right?
Yeah. Just don't pull on it.
It's called golden tree snake or golden flying snake because they can actually glide from branch to branch. They will open, they have these little flaps.
Well, it's actually their rib cage,
Yeah, they
because their
flap
rib
their
cage
body.
goes like this. They can actually flatten out their rib cage to make it kind of like a really flat shoelace. And they can actually glide from tree to tree.
Also known as flying tree snake or these we actually don't have them because we actually never keep them. But these are harmless. They're the same as the vine snake. Their venom is very mild. They can kill like their food, like geckos, but nothing to humans. This is the painted bronzeback. It's quite beautiful. Normally, you wouldn't really see these. They're not
Well, you often see them in the morning,
Yeah.
like sitting on fences and stuff, but they're very shy snakes. Usually they'll disappear before you can get anywhere near them. Often you'll see just a really thin gray snake disappearing somewhere. That'll almost always be these ones.
And
They're extremely fast and extremely shy, and they're very aware of their surroundings. They're always looking around to see if someone's coming. So you're not likely to get too close to those.
I think this, because we have a Facebook page called Snakes of Warhead. If you guys want to join, if you have a snake in your garden, you post it there and we will reply. Or if you find a snake and you think, oh, it's such a beautiful photo, you can post it there and everyone in the group will see it. This is the most common snake in the group. It's called the banded kukri snake. It has sharp fangs but no venom. Not fangs, it's sharp teeth.
They have specially adapted teeth. These ones you should actually never handle because they can give you a bite that you would need stitches for. Because in the wild they mainly feed on reptile eggs, which have a quite hard and leathery shell, so they have specially adapted teeth that are actually like little knives where they'll bite the eggshell and then they'll drag their head backwards, which will slice gaps in the egg. And then they'll just drink all the juice from inside the egg. And they will readily bite, so you should best leave these ones alone. And next is the Cambodian kukri snake. They're quite similar to the banded kukri snake, except these ones, they're really tiny. The maximum size you'll get is about this big. Penny can keep talking. I actually have two that I can show.
Oh, I mean, not out of the box. This is the mock viper. It is not a viper. Remember David talked about vipers, they can move their fangs. It is not, it just looks like one, and so they call it a mock viper. It's extremely small. It's about this big, maximum. Very slender, and they can camouflage extremely well. Very difficult to see them in the wild, but I thought I'd mention it anyways because they do occur here. They don't have venom either. Now we will talk about the rat snakes. There are special snakes that like to eat rats and mice, and stuffed snakes like to eat frogs and toads. Rat snakes will keep your house clean from mice and rats, which I think is great. If you don't like rodents, this will get rid of them. This one is the Indo-Chinese rat snake. And they eat rats. We'll wait for David.
Underneath, they're really beautifully red.
Wow. Why is it wet?
You don't need.
Looks like a snail.
I'll come around and you can actually don't touch it, okay? And on top there's just completely brown. Poo and the pee goes to, it's all one hole that it comes out. And they just, when they have to go to the bathroom, they just open the scales and then it
Or if
comes
they
out
get
and then
scared.
they close it again.
Okay, we talked about this is Oriental. Okay, this is the Oriental rat snake. It looks quite different from the Indo-Chinese rat snake, but this snake is always, well, many times mistaken for a king cobra, because at the end of the tail, it has bands, just like the king cobra does. So if you just see the tail of this, sometimes you can't tell the difference.
But you can tell the difference when you see the head because it doesn't have as big scales on the head as the king cobra does. And this one also won't hood up. The king cobras usually, when you see them, they'll hood up like this, but these ones they can't. This is a radiated racer. They're fairly common around Hua Hin. They always look like this pretty much. They don't vary in looks like some other snakes do. But when these ones, if you confront them, usually they'll be quick to slither away, but if you have them cornered or something, these ones, they'll position their neck in like a double S and they'll actually take lunges at you. But they're completely non-venomous and the bites don't really hurt, so nothing to be scared of.
So if you want to get bit by a snake, this is the perfect one to get bit by.
Why do they call it radiated?
It's just a common
And the common keelback. It looks kind of scary, but it's non-venomous and it's very average looking. It's kind of very simple detail. Not much.
And they're usually found around water. They feed primarily on frogs. So if you have like a little fish pond or something, you'd be quite likely to find one of these around. They grow to about maybe 1 meter max and usually about this fat.
Are they venomous?
No, they're completely harmless. But they do have enzyme in their saliva that if they bite you, it won't stop bleeding. It'll bleed quite a lot, but you just have to put bandages on and it'll stop after a while.
And this is the redneck keelback. You can tell it's a redneck because it has a red neck. So, if you ever see one like this, you will know immediately what does it have?
Redneck.
Exactly. So you know it's a redneck keelback.
Are they poisonous?
They are poisonous and venomous. It's one of the few snakes that are both.
Because a lot of people don't know there's actually a difference between venomous and poisonous. Venomous is when the snake injects you with it and the venom goes into your bloodstream. And poisonous is if you eat it, it'll poison you. Because for example, just pure snake venom, you could quite happily drink it and be fine. Your body would just digest it and nothing would happen. Whereas poison would get into your bloodstream through your stomach as well. So,
But these are both, so don't eat.
So they have a venomous bite, and underneath their neck they have a gland that produces a poison, which makes them dangerous for other snakes to eat.
These are actually, this one is the most harmless snake in the world. It's like the cuddliest snake ever. I used to have one, they're adorable. They do not bite. There's been one person in the entire world who's been bit by one, but he must have been hurting it very badly. Because these are very
generally
sweet.
it's just not, because they have such insufficient teeth, it's just like sandpaper really. They will never bite.
And they will not try either.
Because it's just not in their defensive instinct to bite when they're threatened.
Yeah.
When they're threatened, they'll just curl up in a ball and try to hide.
It's really cute.
I want one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This you can tell because they shine, rainbow patterns show up in the sun. They sparkle, so that you know that's a sunbeam. Or in Thai, it's sang.
And how big are they?
They can get like this big.
And what do they eat?
They feed on almost anything actually. They can even eat other snakes. But mostly they eat frogs and fish and stuff like that. Just small animals they find around water.
Do they eat dogs?
No, they don't eat dogs.
But how
You wanna get it?
You can talk about it.
This one is very beautiful. It's a Siamese cat snake. Cat snakes have big eyes, and cat snakes just do, you can tell. And they have a bigger head, and then they will slip down. And yeah, they're tree snakes. They're not ground snakes. And they will get much down. It has mild venom, so if it does bite you, you will just get a little bit of a headache. but nothing you need to go to hospital for.
Will dogs eat these kind of snakes?
Dogs do not eat snakes, but they will bite snakes.
No, this is a Siamese cat snake.
So slimy.
You can come up to touch it.
Let them walk around. Wait, sit.
Wait, I'll walk around and you guys can touch it. Stay where you are.
We go that way. Make a path.
And that's this little
Here's
guy.
one. This is actually an adult one. They're harmless to people, but they can bite. I can actually pass the bottle around, but you cannot open the bottle, okay? Everyone, do not open it, okay? I'll close it really tightly.
It
But it's completely harmless. And please don't shake the bottle either.
Harmless. And also, don't bite. They are very small. They get about this big.
They can get to a maximum of about 50 centimeters, but usually they stay at about 30 centimeters. And they're very common. You're quite likely to find one of these in your yard someday. Although they're usually nocturnal, you'll usually find them coming out around nighttime. In the evening when it's getting sunset, they'll often come around.
The yellow-bellied water snake. This is a water snake. It lives by the water and eats fish and frogs. And you can tell because it has a big yellow belly. Therefore, it's called a yellow-bellied water snake.
And sometimes you'll see these, because they move around from pond to pond, sometimes you'll find these crossing the road at night. And when the car's headlights shine on them, they get scared and they can they'll pull themselves together and jump kind of almost like a spring. So if you see a snake like kind of flopping and jumping across the road like that, it will be one of these.
How big are they?
They're not very big, they're usually only 40 or 50 centimeters. No, they're harmless.
How big is when they're behind around?
No, it's just one, it'll like contract and then
You know, it like pushes and then it goes wee.
You know how a snake moves?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah?
They do.
So this is just the ending. Like we said before, it is safer not to kill snakes.
Listen up, listen up.
If you do have a cobra in your garden and you go up to it and try to kill it, it'll be so easy for it to just jump you and bite you. So it's best to just go into your house, get your kids or dogs or cats inside, but keep an eye on it to see where it goes, or call David. And snakes play an important role in our ecosystem. They help the area be free, well not free, but
well, they help keep rodent and stuff
in check.
populations in balance. So if you kill all the snakes, you'll have way too many rodents and rats coming to your house and stuff.
That's not good.
So it's best just not to kill them and leave them alone, because obviously also if you try to kill it, the snake will feel threatened and it will try to bite you. So it's always safest just to, if you see a snake, just go the other way and the snake will disappear on its own.
Or if you know it's harmless, you could get like a little stick and just pick it up and maybe plop it next to in a field or
If you have a snake in your yard and you just want it to disappear, if you just spray it with a hose, most snakes will just take off.
What if it's a sunbeam?
and if you want to, if it's a sunbeam, and only a sunbeam, then you can pick it up. Or a vine snake. One of the harmless ones.
How can you find sunbeams?
Seen them crossing the road.
Well, yeah, but mostly sunbeams, they come out after the rain to eat frogs and stuff, but during the daytime they hide under leaf litter. They've got very small eyes, they're almost blind, they're a species of burrowing snake, which means they'll burrow under leaf litter and soil and you'll almost never see them during daylight.
But when you do, they're beautiful. And what was your question, sweetie? What do they eat?
What does the snake eat?
Which snake?
The
Sunbeam? They can eat anything. They can eat smaller snakes, they can eat frogs, hamsters, mice. No, they're too big. Okay, now we
have
will.
Can I, for example, here at school, we had, a couple weeks ago, we had a pit viper. And so I didn't want to just leave it, but we didn't know what to do. So, and I had them at my house also. Like, is there? I want you to come and get it.
Yeah, they're.
I don't want it to like be anywhere in the area. Should I put a box over it?
Yeah, usually if it's the Malayan pit vipers, they usually curl up in
Yeah,
like
he
a
was
little,
curled up.
little ball. What usually works if you get like a dustbin or something and lay it and a big broom, and you can just sweep it into the box and then stand the box upright, or just put a box or something over it. Or
They
you
won't
can
come
call-
out?
No, they won't. Or you can call me and I can come around and catch it for you.
But if I put a box over it, then he won't. If I just cover it with a box.
And you can put something heavy on top, or so
Okay.
they can't like, lift it.
And then how long is it okay to do that for? I don't want to be like.
They can go like that
They
for
can-
like 2 days.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
you can leave it like that for quite a long time without anything happening to the snake.
Yeah, they are really like the most like whatever, they can.
But when you say
survive.
put it in a dustbin, then don't have to worry about it like
Well,
getting
obviously,
threatened?
wear boots and long pants and stuff and keep a safe distance. But it's pretty safe if you just put like a big container, lay it down, and a broom and just quickly sweep it in and then stand it up.
So yeah,
Now we've got some venomous ones outside. So you can get a better look up close what they look like. As you can see, they're not trying to move away. They typically just sit there, even in the dark. So if you're walking at night or something, and if you step on it, they will bite you.
They won't bite if you don't touch them?
If you don't touch them, typically they don't bite.
Are you tamed? But if you
No,
touch,
no, these are not tame. That's why I'm not
They'll
touching
never
them.
if you touch them, what happens? They bite.
Well, they have a bite that is potentially fatal, so you should probably avoid these at all costs.
They won't lunge at all, like,
They
They
can
feel
lunge,
threatened?
but they have heat-sensing pits in their upper jaw. So if I do with a stick, for example, he won't lunge.
Right.
Because you can see the temperature, you can see that this is just a stick. But if you were to put your hand, they could possibly lunge at you.
How big do they get?
These ones, they can get up to 1 meter, but depending on the locality, their sizes differ. The ones from Hua Hin, they're usually maximum, these are adults for Hua Hin.
oh,
Yes. But if you go down to southern Thailand, you can find them much bigger.
So you see that these ones have triangles on their body. That's how you can tell. And his head is also the shape of their body. No, this is a
You can see what a really triangular head they have.
Tanya, the leg. So it's
That could be deadly. That.
Yes, those can be. These are responsible for the most annual deaths in Thailand each year.
It got the airy face.
Where you will find them?
These you can find pretty much anywhere.
Yeah?
They're very common around here.
we tried when it's here.
Yeah.
But it was on the pavement, it was on the concrete, and he just sat there. That was it was brown. They can be like this, or they can be shades of brown.
These, they can vary in color, but the pattern is usually the same. But they can be either lighter or darker. But you can always tell by the very triangular heads and the little triangle patterns on their back.
He's like cute, looking at us.
Yeah.
That is just
And
recently
these
shed.
ones both actually recently shed. I brought the sheds in case you guys want them. The sheds are completely harmless.
I want it. I have a light.
I don't know who's gonna get it.
Yeah.
Whoever.
Oh, you guys, it's very easy to rip.
You can
We would do it for
maybe pass
content
them around,
videos,
let everyone have a look. If they break, it doesn't matter. It's just sheds.
but they do accept that it was a Thank you, David.
And next we have a hatchling king cobra.
Is he tamed?
I wouldn't say he's tamed. He will sometimes try and lunge at me, but this one's my pet. He's quite used to people by now.
But it's best to just
And when they turn adults, they transition in color to be a light brown with black bands.
Be careful he don't bite.
But as hatchlings, they are this color. They're black with yellowish bands.
No, he's not really tamed.
Trained.
Common around here?
They're not that common actually. And these, they can grow up to 5 meters. This is just a hatchling.
Okay.
And when they turn adult, they turn into a light brown with black bands. But as hatchlings, they're black with yellow bands.
What they call in Thai?
No, John.
จงอางไม่ว่าเด็กแนบกูไม่ยิงปิ้งเผาเองนะ
What's the difference between a cobra and a king cobra? Is it just how big they are?
It's just genetically, they're not actually very closely related. But they're both venomous and very dangerous. So for the average person, it's okay to just approach like this. As you can see, he's fairly tame.
So they're already dangerous when they're babies?
Yes.
Already dangerous?
Yes.
never hold a snake the way David holds a snake. I've been eating snakes for years, so he knows what they will do next.
And this is a juvenile Siamese spitting cobra. He's just a small one, so he can't spit as far as you guys are. I won't bring him any closer, but he couldn't spit to where you guys are right now.
What if he spits on the little hammer?
Will that change color when it gets older?
No, this is the same color as they always are. You can see he's spreading a hood. And when they spit on your skin, it's completely harmless, but if their venom gets into your eye, it'll actually start to dissolve your eye. So that's definitely something you want to avoid.
Is that blind?
Yes, it can blind you. But if you wash it out immediately, you'll be fine.
And I heard dogs can get spit in the eye and then
Yes.
if you just wash it out and then
Yeah, but you have to make sure that they don't itch, because when they itch, they'll actually damage their eye, and they can get venom into the bloodstream, which can kill them.
Is he gonna try to spit at us?
I don't think you will, but just to be safe, I'm not going to open it.
That's common around here?
Yes.
How big do you get?
One of the biggest non-venomous snakes is actually not venomous, but it does bite, and it bites from this side of one. I can actually show you what it bites. It's like
scared than you.
No danger, but it will hurt if it bites.
It's not the knife quite wide.
Yeah.
When you push over the block.
If they want to see, it doesn't really hurt.
ไม่กัดนะกัดนะ
See, it barely does
เอาลูก
anything.
เป็น
It
มา
breaks
เล
it
เซีย
into
เขาไปคนหนึ่ง
Could it bite?
ไม่เขากัดเนี่ยตลาด
It did slightly, but not properly.
It's okay, sweetie.
ไม่อยากเมีย
It doesn't hurt a lot, but it stings a little.
Alright, for the next game, the last game, it is slightly big. So, for this one, I want you guys to be calm and quiet, and save the questions for after. I know he can concentrate on two things, but it's just for my sake because I'm worried.
Nah, it's pretty safe.
Yeah, but
This is actually an albino cobra, so you wouldn't really see these in the wild, but it was the only one I had at my house at the moment to show you, so I figured better than nothing.
Красиво.
Thank you. get too close to it. Even if you think it's not dangerous, it's better just to be safe and leave it alone and keep a safe distance so that no one ends up getting bitten by a snake.
And we have our Facebook group. It's on the board and David's phone number, so you can check that out.